Hi, my name is John Rios, and welcome to Busting Fair Use and Copyright Myths. As you can see, I'm already committing copyright infringement on the intro slide, using the Mythbusters logo to open up my presentation. Myth number 1. If a piece of work doesn't have a copyright notice attached to it, I can do anything I like with it. Not true. Aside from a few notable exceptions, practically all creative works are copyrighted. A copyright notice doesn't need to be attached to a creative work in order for it to be protected. Myth number 2. It's okay to upload materials that other people have created to the internet, as long as I credit the authors. Wrong. In the absence of explicit permission to use something, you could find yourself facing a claim for copyright infringement. Myth number 3. It's okay to adapt materials that other people have written and share modified versions of them online, as long as I give author credit. Not so. Unless the materials have been licensed for use in such a way, we are talking about copyright infringement. People who created content have a legal right to determine how their work is used and who can use it. Number 4. If I share copyright materials online for educational purposes, then that is classed as fair use. Not so much. The fair use provisions that apply to educational use are very limited, and they were originally designed for face-to-face instruction using legally obtained materials. Plain and simple, if you put anything online for students to use, get permission. It saves a headache. Myth number 5. It is okay to upload copyright materials to my school server and share them privately with my students. Wrong again. It doesn't matter who your intended audience is. The chances are that search engines will find them, index them, and share them with the world and his wife. Myth number 6. If I share or remix other people's work in a not-for-profit way, then I have nothing to worry about. Not so much. Most institutions have been sued or threatened with lawsuits for using copyrighted work in non-commercial ways. The fact that you didn't seek to make money from someone else's work makes no difference to the outcome if they decide to sue you for infringing on their copyrights. Myth number 7. If a piece of work has a Creative Commons license or a public domain notice attached to it, then it's safe to use it. Not necessarily. The person who uploaded it may have copied it from somewhere else and decided to share without checking or caring who owned the rights to it. If you're considering using materials that are tagged or labeled as public domain, then you need to ask yourself how reliable the source is to work with it. Myth number 8. Works adapted from public domain sources or based on public sources are also public domain. Nope. Adapting a public domain work for a different audience generally involves a lot of hard graft. This earns the author the right to copyright the transformed work and have a say in how it is used. Myth number 9. If I create materials with online tools, then I own the copyright and they are mine to do what I like with them. It would seem reasonable to think so, however, it isn't always the case. You need to read the terms and conditions of any sites you plan to use carefully to ensure that the end result will suit your purpose before investing time and energy in creating materials with web tools. Myth number 10. Copyright violation is a victimless act nobody suffers. Not true. Writers and creative artists rely on income generated by their work to pay their bills. Unauthorized copying pushes up the price of books, CDs, and DVDs and leaches web traffic away from free resource sites that rely on high visitor numbers to stay in business. Do you consider yourself a criminal? You probably don't, but chances are that you are in fact one. So, what have we learned so far? We followed 10 myths that basically dictated that we cannot use anything without permission. In that case, you have to presume everything is owned, copyrighted, patented, or trademarked. What is copyright? Looking at this picture, you would think it's free, right? No, there's always a catch to everything. The legal right granted to an author, composer, playwright, publisher, or distributor to exclusive publication, production, sale, or distribution of a literary, musical, dramatic, or artistic work. No money, no problems. That's the thing here. When we have the money to do something, we try to protect it as much as possible. Hence why copywriting is, and in fact, the way of life. Doesn't sound good, huh? Sometimes you must pay a fee. Sometimes you must do other things to get things. Here you can see various examples of fair use and copyright I use Bane here as an example. Using the meme generator, it helps. This is Judas Priest breaking the law. So as teachers, we developed that we should break the law, quote unquote, to help our students. You guys can go to YouTube because I don't have the rights to the song, so I can't play it here. With fair use, educational is not permitted all the time. If we share one thing on another screen, and another screen, and another screen, and another screen, it's in fact stealing. Doesn't make any sense. We're just doing it to help the kids. But nope, it is in fact stealing. World Wide Web is not a public domain. You put it on the internet, there's ways to be found everywhere. And that sucks. But we're coming to the end now, and I need to put on the references because you guys got to see where I got my stuff from, and this is where it's at. You can pause it. It's pretty long. Makes sense. It has to be pretty long.